guys, again, Alexandra here. Thank you so much for checking out my YouTube videos again. This time I'm back with another review for Genially, which is essentially an alternative to Canva, but I wouldn't say it's the exact same thing, as you would use Genially more to create interactive images rather than static ones or just animated ones like you can do in Canva. Now, I also have other tutorials on my channel on Adobe Spark, Canva tutorials, anything else you might need to create your own images, either for social media or to teach your students. If you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, you can leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Now, for Genially, the interface is pretty similar to Canva, so if you already use that, you will find it very easy to get used to this one as well. In general, tools like these have a similar interface. So you will first be able to create folders if you want to organize your content. Then on the left side, you have your branding options, like you can add your logo, your colors, images, and any other resources, including fonts, backgrounds, just so it will be easier for you to work with the images. And what I like about this is that you also have some inspiration, but these are actual creations that other people have made using Genially. So you can have a look to see kind of what you can create in maybe a matter of minutes. Now, to create your first type of content, you're going to go to Create Genially. And here you have loads of templates you can choose from. Most of them are interactive ones, but you also have the static social images. First of all, you have your presentations. Now, this is something you can create in Canva as well. If you click on one of the templates here, you can actually go through it to see if it suits your needs, and then you can move on to using the template. I'm not going to stick with the presentations because this is something you can create in other tools as well as reports, but something that's interesting here is the learning experience. Now, this is essentially for creating quizzes or other interactive games, maybe for your students or to add within an article. Now, I'm just going to go with this template. I'm changing the palette from the start and click on use this template, and now we are in our editor, which is super simple to use. You have your basic settings at the top, from where you will also be able to preview your quiz at the end or share it. Now I'm just going to stick with this first page, and we are kind of looking to recreate these elements that you get with the template from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I am deleting this text. Just select the text and you can either go here at the top to delete the element. Remember that this bin at the bottom deletes the entire page, which is okay because you get a reminder so you don't make a mistake of removing it. But always you have the undo button at the top anyway. Or another option for you to delete something is to just click on delete on your keyboard. Now I'm going to go to text and try to add some format for the text I want here. And I can start from scratch or go with an option like this one. And I am just going to move these around. The editor again is very simple to use, as you can just drag and drop the elements you want. And I'm going to write quiz on business. And if you select the text, again, you have your basic settings, such as bolding the words, adding maybe a shadow, changing colors, highlighting, anything you might need to make your presentation pop. Now, the second thing I want is to replace this image. I can, again, just click on delete or actually go to this replace option. And from here, you will automatically get the resources you can opt for. Now, I want some illustrations. I can scroll through these, or I can look for a keyword of my choice and just click on the one I want, click on replace, and the tool does everything for you automatically. Again, if you double click on the illustration, you will have some options at the top, including masks, if you need to get a bit more advanced with your image editing options. You can also just go to images and from here look at all of the resources you have. Now currently in Canva, as a comparison, you have some basic stock photos as well as images from their library of contributors, which anyone can really go and contribute to as long as they've been approved, and they get a small percentage of the fee when a user adds this image to their design. Now in Genially, you have some standard cutouts, your stock photos from Unsplash, Pixabay, GIFs, and the option to add your own images, as well as lots of resources, including the illustrations and the scenes. You see right now, let's say I don't like this image right here, so I'm just going to delete this, and instead I am adding one of the scenes, which actually resembles a lot the one I had at the very beginning. So I am replacing this one just to be sure with something like this. And from the same element section or resources, if you want, you will have loads of icons, shapes, graphs and charts, arrows, anything you want to use. To replace this interactive button here, I am again going to delete the element and go to interactive elements. Now here you have, first of all, these simple cute buttons that you can use if you want to create maybe a menu or just shortcuts. Then you have the button with text, which I need. So I'm going to select this. To delete an element in a group like this, I have to first go to ungroup. I want to delete this specific home. So I am deleting that, dragging this to center it a bit. And now what you're going to do is you're going to click on home, click control, click the actual button and go to group. So now you have this as a group and we want to turn it into an interactive element. So I will click on this button here and you have multiple options from a tooltip to a window that opens when you click on the element to moving to another page or just adding a link. In this case, I want to move on to the next page. I can click on next page or directly on the slide or the page you want to go to. To preview if it's working, we are going to preview, naming this as quiz, clicking on save, and we are having this image right here. Click on home, and you can see that it works. As you are previewing this, you might also want to have the show interactive elements on just to make sure every button that you want is clickable. You then have these markers, for instance, this one, and you can add it on top of an element in your image. Let's say this girl here. Now this isn't a best practice, but I'm just showing you for the purpose of really having a look at how turning this again into an interactive element works. Here we might want a tooltip. So I'm going to just simply write girl. And now I'm going to preview. Remember that you have this to see where your interactive elements are. And I'm clicking on this and I'm basically getting my tooltip. This specific marker you can use to kind of show maybe what a person is wearing and add the brand or a website on top of your tooltip. Another interesting interactive element you can use is this invisible area, which will not be seen directly on your quiz or presentation, but you can turn it into an interactive element again, like a window. Just write something here, click save, preview, and you know that you have this invisible element here, so you're going to click on it, and you actually get the window on top of that. Now this is super useful for presentations. Now I'm going to delete everything I have here so we can move on to smart blocks. Now smart blocks, as you'll see, are most often handy images you can use to represent graphics, stats, or just charts and rankings. I'm going to select this one just to show you kind of what it looks like. Now you can edit any element on it, from text to colors. You can double click on really any element, and you will get the editing options either at the top, or in this case, since we're talking about the actual data representation of this element, you will have this pop up on the right side. Now you can change the colors around from, a simple color scheme to adding your own colors. From here, where you can change the font, you can always just switch this type of chart around and keep the same data you have. From the data tab, you can go on and just change your stats around. And if you want to play with this a bit more, I recommend you also try something as simple as this one. Again, double click on it, go to data, change the percentage here in this case. Then you can maybe add on an interactive element like, let's say, a link or a go-to page. And as you can see, the entire thing is animated. You can always just use the interactive elements as well. Then you have some basic options such as insert if you want to upload your own audio, video, or directly record audio from the tool. This is super handy. And you have the backgrounds, which can honestly be super simple, stock ones, or adding your own. You will want to look through these since many times they can inspire your future design and what it will look like. Now, when you are adding really any background, select the background, click on it again, and then you will go to transparency and make sure you have the transparency as you need it. This background in particular, as you can see, is a visual one that's also animated because it is a video. So you can use videos as your background as well. And you can also add some audio from your computer or from a URL. Maybe if you want, in this case, some sea sounds or just people playing on the beach. From the pages section as well, you will be able to have better control of your slides, sections, whatever you want to create. And to edit any page, just click on it or go to this wand here. Below that, you have some options of hiding a page, adding a password, because you can actually work with collaborators. So you may not want to show everything to everyone who has access. Maybe you have some data you do not want to reveal yet, so you can add a password to that page. Now at the end, when you want to save this, the tool does automatically save everything, but you want to also go to all set. This is basically when you're done. You can always come back and edit it later, but if you want to share it, with the free version, you have the option of getting a public link. And maybe if you click on reusable, your design will show up in the inspiration list publicly. Now, when you click on all set, you'll also have the option to present it, download it for paid plans, or share it as a link or sending via email to your students, your team, contributors, anyone who you want to help with your content. Now, for other types of features, we're going to the gamification section. These here are super handy if you want to add them maybe in an article instead of your regular boring images that are static. This one, for example, if you preview it, you can just switch it to the other side. Like imagine having a card with two images, one on each side, and maybe use these instead of static images in your article, or you can have the image on one side and then for the other side you can just have the text maybe with an answer to a question you posed on the first side of the image. And this action of switching to the other side is actually done by a next page jump. Now, another thing we need to look at is how to animate images and elements. To best represent these, we can have a look at either presentations or maybe an infographic. So I'm going to opt for this canvas breakout. And let's say we want this block to move a bit. I mean, it already has some type of animation on it. And if you go to preview, you can actually see the animation it has. We are going to click on animation and add our own effect. Now I recommend playing with these a bit because there are so many, so you want to see which one works best for your own presentation or infographic. If you want to maintain just this animation, make sure you close and delete the other ones. Again, I'm removing these effects and I want only the hover mouse effect to shrink. I am going to preview this, and as you can see, this moves on its own. And now I'm going to hover my mouse over this one. So it has this animation that is prompted by my mouse signal. You also have the option to create maybe a CV from here. You can make use of these effects to create an interesting animation maybe. Again, go to animation, select the way you want this image to enter, go to preview, and of course, you can add multiple animations to these elements, including simple pop-ups like these if you want to maybe keep your CV clean and just have the text pop up when people are interested in reading it. Now, for the social static images, which many of you I'm sure are interested in, just keep in mind the templates here aren't exactly the most modern ones, and many of them do not follow current design trends. You can sometimes find unique ones here, or you can honestly just go to Canva, take inspiration from a template there and recreate it here. Under the social options, you have really a lot of possibilities, from just horizontal posts, square posts for maybe Instagram, vertical posts, and you can actually look for maybe stories and find some inspiration, or look for Instagram directly. I wouldn't say the template section is the best yet, at least for static images. Now, another thing I wanted to briefly mention is this guides template, which you can always use instead of sending a PDF, as you can opt for something like this, and it just takes you through elements in an interactive manner to kind of break free from just loads of text. Finally, we are looking at the video presentation options. In case you didn't know this before, you can actually create presentations from slides. So using PowerPoint or Google Slides, you can turn those into a video. And it will be just like this one, with basically your slides coming in, being animated as you need them, and making it look like it's actually a video. Some of them, though, are only available with paid plans. So the last thing I really want to talk about is the plans for Genially. Now you have two options: the education plans, if you need this as a teacher, as a student, and the professional ones, if you want to create maybe an advert for your business, or a presentation, or just content for your blog post. Now, the free option, if you are going to look at the breakdown by plans, is very limited, as you can only display your content publicly. So that's why any of the paid plans will allow you to keep your content private. And another big problem with the cheaper plans is that you can only remove the Genially logo with the master and team plans. If you want to create maybe your own branding on the image, instead of having that Genially watermark, yes, I'm talking about this one in the corner, which is quite big, so you can't use it unless you need these for personal purposes, or maybe just to send them to your students. If you have more questions on Genially, you can reach out to their customer support team. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and a like. And I will see you in the next video. You can also find a link to one of my courses in the description below. Hopefully next time we'll have another interesting tool to review. To be honest, many of the tools these days are pretty much similar, so there's not a lot to talk about. Really, what you want to look for is templates. If you like the templates, if you have maybe options such as this gamification option, the interactive image option in Genially is another interesting one because you can get your students to learn something from a single image by adding maybe text, videos, images, GIFs, anything like that, instead of sending them, a boring Wikipedia page or article or something like that. Really, this is it, guys. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day ahead and take care.